Hello everybody, I am back again with just some opinions on stuff. I wanted to do this immediately after the pay-per-view, but I couldn't find the time. The free time that I did have, I spent watching the G1 Climax, and that's over now, so I'll be making my recommendations in hopefully a video that will be happening quite soon after this one. But I did want to talk about this because I think it might be some worthwhile discussion. Summerslam, I thought was good. I liked the main event. I liked Sheamus versus Henry. But one thing that stuck out to me was Orton versus Christian, and not in a good way. I'm really finding it hard to see why this would get so much praise. Part of me thinks I'm just becoming less and less tolerant of matches that just don't manage to achieve as much as I would want it to in such a long length of time. Because the first time I watched this, and I did watch it twice, I watched it twice just to be completely fair to it. The first time I thought it dragged horrendously, among other problems, and the second time I thought... The second time I had kind of braced myself for the length of the match, but even then, I do not think this was good. I thought it was completely average. I will still say that their best match to me was the first one on SmackDown, and that has a lot to do with the type of match that these guys typically work. Their style of match is rapid counters, no long segments of control, lots of transitions, and if you do that well, that's great. That's wonderful, but it does work, but for a 12 to 13 minute match, which is what their SmackDown match was. Now, I think most people will agree that despite the no-holds-barred stipulation, that same style of match was very evident here. But, in my opinion, for a 25-minute match, especially a brawl, it hardly ever works. I'm sure there are exceptions to that don't come to mind right away, but particularly when we're talking about under 30 minutes, I guess, but those are few and far between. I really think that if for a longer match, you need to put in some thought into control segments and long-term selling, something that these guys did not do in their SummerSlam match. You know, the opportunity was definitely there. It was definitely there because of the Edge promo. I really liked that a lot because I thought what they were going to do, I thought, was a reversal of sorts of what happened at the end of the match at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, where Christian he was going to take in what Edge told him, turn it into a vicious frustration of sorts in the match, and then just run with that, and turn it into a lengthy controlled segment against Orton. That would have been excellent, and that would have even also opened the door for a believable Orton comeback, where because Christian's viciousness is based on frustration, he's more prone to making mistakes that Orton can take advantage of. That's what I wanted to see, but the only reference to the Edge promo in that match was the concerto spot, and even though I can recognise that it was a genuinely good spot that made sense, everything around it just made me not care. Christian had just tried to RKO Orton through the table after spending not nearly enough time working him over, so when Christian countered it, it didn't feel like a big deal. Orton gets in an RKO attempt. No, wait, hold on. Christian gets him back in the ring, then goes for a kill switch, but not before Orton gets in the RKO attempt, so that pretty much kills the near fall. To me, it does. I mean, there was no need for the RKO attempt that no-sold the table spot because it killed the impact of the finisher kickout. That's how I see it. So, all that happened before the concerto spot, one of only two good spots in the match to me, so I just didn't care. It just didn't feel important, and because Orton just no-sold too much. And that continued right up until the ending, which is another example of a good spot that was ruined because of everything around it. This is coming near the end of a 25-minute match. There is no question about it. Every weapon strike should matter. Every weapon strike should be a big deal and should be able to make big changes in how the match is going. Orton sets Christian up for the RKO, Christian strikes him with the kendo stick, but Orton is still ready to RKO him on the steps. It's not good stuff. It really isn't. I guess Christian shouldn't even try to fight back if it's going to have so little effect. I'm not saying Christian got buried because I think the match showed a lot of effort, so that kind of makes him look legit anyway, but effort does not equal quality, and as far as this match goes, I was bored, to be completely honest. I figure that some people just genuinely like the spots, but I honestly think that in wrestling now, we've seen pretty much everything. So completely new and original spots are pretty few and far between, so what matters to me is how you set them up and how you build towards them, and this match they didn't do that in my opinion. You know, like I said, too many changes of control for a 25-minute match means that not a lot sinks in and nothing feels as important as it should be. You know, feel free to respond to this. I'm sure people might be getting tired of me coming on here and telling them that their favourite matches aren't actually all that good, but I'm sure everyone's smart enough to know that these are actually my true feelings and not trolling. And keep in mind, despite everything, I still have the same match of the year as most others on here. So We do not live in different universes. I might hear from some of you on this, but regardless of everything, I will be back pretty soon to talk about the G1 stuff. There's some good stuff in there. I'll talk to you guys later.